So, hey guys, now let's see where we at. We are receiving the post from the database from Firebase, and now what we want to do is when we click this first post, okay, or second post, to go to the post.html. I'm going to remove this, I forgot. Go to post.html and use the post ID in order to retrieve that information from database. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Everything else is working fine as I see. Okay, so let's go to our code. Is this one. Okay, and let's go to post.html and let's say HTML5 and create a new document. So this one is going to say, well, let's say only post as title, and we're going to copy what we have. So we need a toggler and we need the navigation. So let's copy those and paste. Control Shift. No, it's not that. Okay. Let's just remove those spacings so we can see. Okay, so we have the toggler and the navigation right now inside our post.html, but are not going to work. So if we come here and click, okay, we can see that since we are not adding the main CSS, let's add that. Let me move this down there. So let's grab those two, the style sheet and the font from Google. So let's paste those, and we have the style, but this is not working because we don't have the main JS. So let's go to one of these, in this case create, and we are going to need all these. Okay, so let's paste them, and this is going to work. So we're going to change this. So we're going to go to new post, and also let's copy this and paste it, and also we're going to go to home from here. So this one is going to be index.html. So when we click this, okay, you can see we can go to home, we can go to new post from here, and from here we can go to home also. Okay, and we can go to new post. So that is set. Right now we don't have any content, so let's add our content. This one is just going to be a main, so let's say main with an ID of main. Okay, now let's say h2, let's say post. We can change that later. So we're going to generate an anchor href with the index.html, and okay, the ID is going to be back, and that's going to be it for that. So let's say go back, and we have that. Remember that we have a padding, a margin here on the main, and I think we forgot that, or I forgot that. Okay, so it's working. Let's leave the padding. So let's go back. I still don't have the styling for this, so we're going to add that later so it looks better. And we're going to add some things here So also for this main, we're going to add the class of post container, because this one is going to contain the post. So this is going to be the major content for this. We're going to create a new div with ID of loading and a new button with ID of edit. Let's say edit. Below this, a new div with ID of edit form container, because remember that the form is going to be appended to the document using JavaScript. So that is going to be empty right now, and a div with ID post. So that should be it. And we need a button down here that is going to be the delete with an ID of delete. Okay, so that should be it for that. And we're going to go to our main.js and grab those IDs to start getting, at least in this video, the post that has this ID. So let me go back before and fix something. This shouldn't so it's in main.js, so it should be up here. So let me remove this and we can go back. We can click here, cannot get. Okay, then we do need this. Actually, it seems like I was checking that. Okay, we cannot get post.html. What's the problem here? Let's save this. Okay, let's refresh that. First post, okay, and we get that. Let's remove this, save this, and let's just remove this. So it cannot get. Okay, so that seems to be needed. So let's Control F5 to refresh with the cache, and that should be it. So I just wanted to check if this was working or not. So it seems that it's needed in this case. So let's continue. Right now, we need to add the post that matches this ID. So we need to get that ID. And for that, we're going to create a new function where, let's say, below this one. So it's going to be a constant get post ID from URL is going to be equals to a function, and this function, what it's going to do is get the URL that we have here and grab the ID so we can look for that document inside our Firebase collection. So it's going to be post location equals to window that location that href. So that's going to grab the whole URL. Let href array is going to be equals to post location that split. So this one is going to be easy because what we are going to do is going to split using the slashes, and let post ID equals to href array that slice. So we're going to pass here a less one and we're going to remove the last one, so that is going to be our ID, and we just need to return the post ID. So using the hashes, we're going to crop this and return our ID that is going to be stored in this post ID. And from this, one thing that you should know is that if you want to work with a function inside another function, for you to pass what we have here on line 37 that only exists in this function, we need to return that value. Okay, so that is what we are going to do here. We're going to return this, that is the ID, to the other function. I think we're using this inside another function. Let me see. Yep. So we're going to add a new constant here that is going to be get post equals to an async function that what it's going to do. Okay, let me scroll down a little bit and move the mouse. Okay, so let post ID is going to be equals, so we're going to call get post ID from URL, and it's going to return this post ID. So this post ID is going to be, after all that process, only this part. Okay, so that is what we're going to return, and we are going to use that inside this variable. So that's why we are returning what this is returning, or what this is getting from the URL. We're going to check if loading. Okay, we still don't have that, so let's just come back here and say I think it's ID loading, so we can close this and this, and let me see the ID. Okay, ID, everything is an ID. Okay, so constant loading is going to be equals to document that query selector, the ID of loading, and we're going to check if that exists. So if loading is not equals to null, then we're going to change something inside the loading, because remember that this loading is empty currently. So we are going to do something. We're going to add a value to that. So if, let's say, loading that inner HTML, so this inner HTML property allows us to add something. So let's close this, to add something inside the tags. So if I type here something, okay, let's save this, and we need to call this, but we're going to call it after the DOM is fully loaded. So it's going to be get post, and we say that. Okay, so let's save this and let's see what we get. And you can see we have something here. I mean the word something. So if we go there, you can see that loading has something inside. Let's refresh. Okay, you can see that it kind of flickers and then shows something. That's what we are doing with the inner HTML. So let me find that. Okay, so remember that when we post a new post, I told you that what you need to do is add the numbers here. So you need to create a new element, okay, and with this inner HTML, okay, getting the ID of that element like we are doing here, you pass the progress variable that we are retrieving. So that is going to give you the numbers, okay, if you want to do that inside, or wherever you want to add them. So it's going to show you the uploading process when you are posting a new document. Okay, so that is how you can achieve that. So that's just a little, if you want to do it. If you don't want to, well, it's not much of a big deal. So right now, what we're going to do is that I'm going to paste something. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to paste this, that this is a class, a div class, a LDS circle, and with a loading post. So let's add 3 dots there. And as I said, we can add something to this inner HTML, but what this is going to do is add another div with another div inside with a class LDS circle and with a paragraph inside with this message, okay, inside the loading, so we can display something. So for this we need the stylings, and I need to go to my project and I'm just going to copy all this because let's go to main CSS and below everything else, because this is just for the loader, I'm going to paste all this. Okay, so let's see. Okay, where I'm getting this loader, let's say a CSS loader, and I think it's from this one. Okay, it's this one. When you click this, you can see that it says source. When you click, this is what I'm using. Okay, I'm just appending a paragraph inside that says a loading post. So this is what you're going to place in the HTML, in this case inside our JavaScript, because this is what we are going to append, or what we want to append inside the element we just got. And you copy all this CSS and just add it. Okay, this is just managing the keyframes, some styling, okay, the width, height, this to make it a circle. The background, you can change the color, and the animation, that is using a cubic bezier. But this is the keyframe, so this is how we're going to add the animations. And just like that, if you want me to check animations a little more in depth, let me know, but this is going to work. Okay, so let's close that, and we need to add some styling to our loading so it gets okay, this intent's really bad, but let's leave it like that. We need to grab the loading, okay, that is a div, and we're going to add a width of 50%, a margin of 0 auto, that this is going to center the loading div in our document, and above all we're going to give text align because we have a paragraph inside and we want to align that to the center. And you can see that this is showing. So that's the first part, but I'm going to comment this out just like this, add 2 slashes and you comment that out, and this is not going to work, okay, because we still need to finish the function. So we are appending the loader, first of all checking if that loader exists, and appending the loading spinner to that. So the next step is similar to what we did here. So we need to get the element or the document, sorry, from Firebase, and we need to wait for that to end so we can perform some other actions. So we're going to say let post, similar to what we did on line 27. We're going to await for Firebase that Firestore, that collection. We need to specify the collection, and For this, we need to pass the document we want. Inside this document, we pass the ID. So we have an ID. Remember that this is returning the ID. So this is actually the ID, post ID. Now we call get, and we can say catch the error and say error console.log error, just like that. In case something happens, we want to see that. So we're going to do again, if loading is not equals to null, again, just to be sure, okay, to avoid any error, we're going to loading inner.html, we're going to remove what it has, okay, so just append this empty string. So this is going to remove the spinner and leave it blank, okay. And now we're going to check if post and logical and delete button are not equal to null. So essentially this is the same as saying it's not equals to null, okay. So it's going to check if post exists. So this is another way of doing that. And also if delete button is not equal to null, we're going to say delete button that style that display, because all these are going to be hidden by default, and we're going to add those in a second. So it's better to just do this, okay, because I have that. I think I forgot. Okay, so let's say like this, and let's say if to have those in the edit button. No, sorry, I just saw that wrong. So this is actually correct, and I'm going to copy this and paste it. So this is not delete, I read that wrong, it's edit button, and we're going to say edit button display block. Okay, so these ones are going to be hidden by default, the delete and the edit. So we don't want them to show as this, okay, if the post isn't loaded. So we're going to with CSS hide this, so we can show only the post and get back, just like that. And we need another function below here that is create child, similar to what we did with the general post. So we're going to say post that data, if that returns correctly, that we're going to get from this, okay. Data contains everything from the post. So we, in this case, we don't need the ID, so we only grab the data from there. So we need to say here, we need to add the edit. So it's going to say constant edit button equals to document that query selector. All these I think are IDs, so we can say edit button. The other one is constant delete button equals document that query selector delete button, and I think that's it. And of course I think we need a post. We're checking for that. No, what we're checking here is that this post is actually not an error, okay, and returns. So save this. We still need to create the children or the child, sorry, that is going to be similar. So let's go and create a child just below yeah, below this one, let me scroll down a little bit. So this is going to be constant create child. So this is similar to what we did with all the posts. This is going to grab some post data. That is what we are passing here, the post data. Okay, so this is the parameter. It's going to take this form, and we're going to check if single post is not equals to null. So the single post, let me see, where do I have that single? I'm just checking on my code. Okay, I'm just blind. So we need to get this document that, sorry, not like that, constant a single post equals to document that query selector, and this is an ID post. Okay, so that is what we're going to get. So the post, remember, that is this one on line 34. So we're going to check if that exists. So create child, let's say Control F, create child. Okay, so we need the other one. Okay, so we are here. So if we are on the page of post and the post exists, so what we're going to do, I'm just checking for that. Okay, just several functions. I need to scroll through those. So let div equals. So we're going to do the same document that create element. We're going to create a new div. So remember that this is empty and we still don't have any values to give. So we want to create this dynamically after we receive the information. Okay, so that's what we are doing here. Let image, because this one is going to be an actual image, document that create element an image that set attribute. This is how we're going to set some attributes. I think I explained that before. We're going to set the source because images need a source, and the source is going to be post data.cover. Remember that returns a URL. So we're going to see that in a second after we finish this. And image that set attribute loading to be lazy. So this should lazy load the image. Now let's continue with the rest of the post. So we're going to say let title equals to document that create element is going to be an h3. We're going to continue using this h1, h2, and h3. h1 being the top in the hierarchy, and from there to the bottom is less important. So this is less important, and h3 is less important than an h2. So let title node, remember that the text is also an object, so we need to create that using document that create text node, So the text we're going to pass is the post data that title that we receive, the title we receive from Firebase, from this post, and we need to append that. So title that append child title node. The next one is going to be the content. Let content equals to also document that create element this one is going to be a div. So content node, I think it's called, yes, equals, we're going to do the same, we're going to pass the text, so it's going to be document that create text node, and for that we're going to use the post data, that is the information that is coming from Firebase, and the content from the current post. We need to append also that content, that append child. So to the element we need to append the text, so that's the way it should be, or that's the only way it's going to work, of course. Content node, so don't try to do it backwards. And after this, remember that we have this div, okay, so we need to append to that div the next order. So it's going to be first the image. You can change the order here. This is how we are going to append and how it's going to be shown inside the post div. So let's say div that append child. So first the image, then the title, and then the content. Div that append child content, and to the post. Remember we have the post element or the div with ID post, so we need to append the rest, append child, that is that div. Okay, so first we append everything that we set here to the div, and that div is going to only be appended to the post that is, remember, this post on line 34. So we save that and we uncomment this on line 192, and let's see how it works. So okay, it takes a bit for the image to appear because it's trying to be a lazy loading. So we have that, and let's style this before we wrap up this part. So let's go to main CSS, sorry, and we need to grab the post. So let me look for that, and I think I'm going to copy this because this is essentially the same. So let's say what I'm going to explain. So I'm going to explain, I mean, is ID post yes, so for this ID post we're going to, let me just look for that. I don't seem, okay, just give me a second. So we're going to first of all do this, okay, edit and delete. That should give, we don't have that, we're not appending that. Okay, yeah. Sorry. As I said, we need to display none those first, but I forgot to do something inside the main. That seems to be the case. So we need to go back, or I need to go back and verify this. So delete button and edit button should work, but I don't see them. So maybe it's just the, okay, I found that. So we need to, I need to copy this, and let's go back to the CSS. Before this, okay, just I was checking for the post, but I forgot that it was so okay, so this one is taking 100%, but we need still to add something. And let's open the, because there's no error, but let me just grab this one. But the edit button it seems to be appended. Oh, but it's down there, it seems. So let's say, it has display none still. Edit and delete. So maybe I grab those ones. So let me edit button. ID edit button and ID delete. Oh, sorry. So it's only edit and delete. Sorry about that. That's why that is not working. So let's remove this and remove this and save. And we should see. Yes, we can see that. And the image is being loaded. Okay. So we can see that. And as I said, we need to set first the display of those two buttons as none so they don't appear, and after we receive the post they are going to be displayed. Okay, so background on and all that, but we're going to add some 3 other styles. I'm not going to type this because this is just the buttons. Okay, so back is the button that is going to have, or this one, this is an anchor. But let's save this and see how it changed. Okay, we have this go back. And you can see that the button changed the style. Okay, this is not going to do anything because we haven't given that behavior, and the delete is not going to do anything neither. So we need one more thing, that is this one. So if we go to post, we can see that we have this class post container, and we're going to use some CSS to make that look a little better. So up here, we're going to say main class post container with 70% and margin 0 auto to center that. And you can see this changed. Okay, so it looks better now. So I don't know. Okay, because I changed some things and maybe I changed other. So this shouldn't look like that. So I think that's going to be it for this part. So let me just scroll down to those and show you. I'm going to toggle word wrap in case something was missing. So this is the post styling. Okay, copy that with 100%. So the image is going to take 100% of the width. Okay, but since we reduce the main width, it's going to take that. So it's not going to fill the whole page. We're going to add that a little shadow. Okay, so let's go to CSS-matic and show you how you can get quick shadows. Just edit this. Okay, so let's say horizontal. Let's remove that and place it in 0. Let's add some blue radius, and maybe let's just remove or lower the spread so we can have a more this effect a little more clean, so it looks only, you know, shadows are not meant to be. So let's copy that and we paste that. Okay, and let's see how it looks. So shadows are not meant to be super well, that looks kinda. Let's add a little bit more of color, just that. We can see that, but it's not that how can I say this, it's not that hard, you know. So let's save that, and we can see a little shadow there at the bottom. And we can also copy this again, or although I should have that on the clipboard, but let's go to post, and each one of class post, I think these ones are the individual posts that we have on the index. So let's save this and let's see if that works. Okay, that is not working, so I think it's this one. So I removed that, sorry. Save this. And you can see we have a little shadow below this one, okay, or below the posts. So that's fine, and I'm going to leave it like that. And we're going to fix some stylings later, but I think that's all for this part. We're 40 minutes, okay? So we're going to continue then in the next part. So let's get one of these, adding the functionality for this and for this one to delete the post. Maybe we can add an alert or something, confirm to show you that. I think I will do that, but we're receiving the post. So for you to see, if I go here to second post, it's going to receive the other post, the other information, and it's working, but we still need to add the ability to update the post and delete the post. Okay, so that's it for it, and we're going to fix also some stylings in the next video. So see you in the next one.